great to be with you both here at PDAC, and maybe we can just start with a bit of an introduction to Copper Bay.
Yeah, thanks very much. So look, Copper Bay, it's a very large emerging porphyry copper camp that we secured about 3 years ago. We're about to commence our first drilling campaign at the property this season, and we're basically building on historical work that we've inherited since we acquired the property. We've got a great open biddable starter case resource at the property. That's our founding, our foundation for the property. We're just hot to trot, fired up to grow that resource, increase the grade of that open biddable starter case, and then start testing some of the new discoveries that we've already made on the property, new porphyry systems, right, in and around that existing resource. So that's the project in a nutshell.
And I believe the project already has a 200 million ton resource. Can you talk a little bit about what this means, this potential scale of the project, and how you're going to start kind of working that?
I can. So recently we've done a resource upgrade basically on a re-interp. The resource hangs off only about 41 drill holes, which is a good thing. There's a lot of area to growth. So that's produced about 1 million copper equivalent metal tonnes. Basically the resource is open at depth below open pit material, which means the open pit optimisation is mining out all of the resource, and it's very early days for this drilling. All the resource is inferred at this stage, so this year one of our jobs is to increase the geological confidence category to indicated.
And so what are the plans next? How are you going to kind of start working the project?
So look, one of the reasons that we secured this opportunity is because of the location, right deposit, right location. So having that open biddable starter case in Alaska, in this great jurisdiction, with the grades that we've got, the drill intercepts that we've got, they're just a really great foundation. So we're going to be firming up that starter case resource. We've been reinterpreting the geology that went into that resource, and believe that past explorers who did an amazing job, they didn't really understand what was controlling the high grade and really in controlling the mineralization across the property. So this year we're going to be just doing a lot of infill drilling to improve confidence in where that shallow high grade is. So high grade being plus 1% copper, we know it comes to surface. We've snagged it in a lot of the drill holes, up to 3% copper in historical drilling. Long intercepts, for example, 260 meters at about 0.6% copper, 0.7% copper equivalent. And within that, we've got intercepts of 70 meters at plus 1% copper. So all the ingredients in that starter case zone to make have an open pitable resource starter case in this amazing jurisdiction that is the state of Alaska. So really interested in to focus on improving that starter case while we then start also drill testing some of these new discoveries. For example, the mapping teams in September last year made a brand new discovery of an outcropping separate porphyry deposit about 1.5 kilometers away from the current resource, with outcropping bornite, chalcopyrite in this Court stockwork zone that's been blasted by argillic alteration. So this is a telescope porphyry system that we've discovered. As is Pyramid itself, we've now realized it's a significantly telescope system with copper on copper on copper coming into this system. So our focus this year, our goals by the end of this year, is to firm up that starter case resource and have some amazing drill results at these other targets that we're starting to test.
Why is copper, such an exciting opportunity at the moment?
We're all kind of aware of, this a real, rush of interest in copper. This has been growing for over a decade now. And so the industry really is struggling to keep up with growing demand for copper. But there's some nuance in here, and that is that the world is actually not running out of copper. There's a lot of copper in known resources around the world. So the shortage, the bottleneck for our industry is not the lack of copper resources. And a simple way to sum it up is that we don't need more copper, we need better copper. So we need deposits in the right jurisdictions that aren't struggling with community issues, environmental issues. And so Pyramid is, it passed, our above ground risk filters, just low risk from those kind of criteria. So the world needs more copper, but it needs copper that it can mine responsibly, it can get it out of the ground, without being hindered and slowed down by some of those above ground risks. And so this is where we believe Pyramid the Pyramid deposit and the Copper Bay project, the wider project, is just the right place to be at the moment.
And I would think it certainly plays into kind of this domestic reshoring strategy that's happening across the U.S. as well.
One of the things about the Pyramid discovery is that it's close to deep water, it's on the Aleutian Arc, it's close to major shipping lines to Asia and Japan, and basically it's a development ready project, so within the US.
Let me quickly add to that, because as Trevor's pointing out, so one of the interesting things about the property is that we secure the entire porphyry camp. So there's very few opportunities around the world that I can put my finger on where that is the case. A single company has secured that whole geological camp. But you can see here, right in the middle of the property, we've actually got a deep water bay. And so it overcomes one of the big challenges in Alaska of how do you get your products to a port. So we have potential to build the port facility right here on the property, about 5 kilometers from the center of the resource. So it sounds like a small thing, but in Alaska, that really is a big kind of trump card for the property.
All right, excellent. And so really just to wrap it up, what should investors, what should the general market be on the lookout for from Copper Bay in the coming months?
Primarily resource growth and geological confidence. As I said, there's only 41 drill holes in this project, and a lot of them don't have up dip or down dip extensions. So that's an opportunity to really drill this thing out, and also, as Russ sort of said, potential for multi-phase new discoveries in the broader Pyramid camp, and that's a big. We don't need it for Pyramid, but that's the upside for the project, and that's not only at Pyramid itself, Southwest Pyramid, but also this wider San Diego Bay area, where we've got multiple argillic lithocaps. Russ, you can add to that?
Well, look, so our overall philosophy for Copper Bay is we want to build on that starter case. We don't want to be here in 10 or 20 years' time, patting ourselves on the back, having some great drill intercepts, a larger resource, but no mine. We want to get into production quickly with the starter case. And then, as all the great deposits have done, the Escondidas of the world, the Pilbara province, they started small and they grew after production has started. So we want to get into production early with that open pitable starter case, and then really start to unlock that longer term potential across the camp. As Trevor is saying, this airborne mag survey that we flew in August last year, first time anyone had flown mag across the property, you can see that beautiful anomaly at the center of the Pyramid deposit. We had a very pleasant surprise when we just saw how many of the similar looking anomalies there are across the property, but especially in the San Diego Bay area, which hasn't been drilled, but our best copper results at surface are actually over here at San Diego Bay, and our highest gold results. So focus on getting that starter case up and running, while we then start drilling out that longer term potential, which I hope investors will see the attractiveness in.
Well, Trevor, Russ, I want to thank you for joining us here today. I hope the rest of PDAC goes successfully for you.